Okay, so now we're dealing with tied notes. Okay, so this is really gonna tied notes with the ride cymbal pattern. They expand the note or they elongate it. Okay, so that or it gives the illusion of it's it's there's more space underneath the ride cymbal. With the tied notes. So usually in a tied note, you're not which would be the tied note would be on the eighth notes, right, going into the next quarter note downbeat, but you wouldn't play the next quarter note downbeat with your ride cymbal because obviously it wouldn't be a tied note at that point. So the most common example I can give is let's say if we had a 2-bar phrase, okay, we had quarter notes leading all the way up to, let's say, beat 4, okay, and the last eighth note was a tied note, right? You would play that last eighth note and just play the end of 4, and you wouldn't play beat 1 on your ride cymbal, but you would come back on beat 2. So if I were to put this together, and this is not easy to explain, okay, so bear with me. Okay, you would basically tie or extend the note into the next quarter note. Make sense? Okay, you'll hear it when I play it. So I'm going to play 2-bar phrase, and then on beat 4 of the second bar, okay, I'm going to play a tied note, and I'm going to skip beat 1 and come down on my second beat quarter note. Okay, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 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 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Okay, so you see what I did? I put a tied note on the end of 4, right, on the eighth note on the end of 4, and I let it ring all the way to the first beat, and then I came right back down on my second beat, right? So beat 2. Okay, so if I were to speed it up, and it'll make more sense when I speed it up, because slowed down it doesn't have the same effect. Okay, so if I were to play this in a regular jazz feel, this is what you get. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. Okay, so if you were to put some ride cymbal eighth notes there, before that tied note, it sounds really cool. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, 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 3, 4, and. Okay, so really all I'm doing is I'm basically skipping beat 1 and then coming back. I'm letting the end of 4. The end of 4 note go all the way to beat 2 of the next particular cycle. Okay, so drummers like Elvin Jones and Jack DeJohnette and all those guys, Jeff Tain Watts, you hear this in all their playing. You'll hear stuff like right? So I just played an example of all kinds of tied eighth notes. Okay. So it's just an elongating in your ride cymbal pattern. Okay. So I would say the first place to start would be the fourth beat of the second bar. Okay. So then what you could do after that, right, if you wanted to, is you could, since we already did beat 4 on the second bar, you could do beats 2 and 4. Okay, so obviously you wouldn't play the third quarter note, right, on on bar 2, and you wouldn't play the first quarter note after the end of 4. So going into the next cycle. So I'm going to slow this down, okay? So the first bar we're going to have quarter notes. Then the second bar we're going to elongate the end of 2 into beat 3 and the end of 4 into beat 1. Okay, so we're going to skip beats 3 and 1. Okay, so here we go. We're not going to skip, we're just going to elongate it really. So we're not playing anything there, so there's more space. So if I were to slow this down, which won't have the same effect, but you'll hear it when I play it later. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 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 1 triplet, 2. Okay, so when I speed this up, it'll sound like it makes more sense. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4. Okay? It's kind of like, in a rock song, if you had a shuffle, it's kind of like if you would put a tied note would be, if you were to play a fill and then put an accent on the end of 4, that's kind of like what it would sound like. That's kind of like what we're doing, 1, 2, and 3, 4, and. Kind of the same feel or the same idea. So that's beats 2 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1. Okay, so that's a cool place to put some tied notes. All right. So really, what you're doing is you're elongating those other quarter notes, really. So you're kind of leaving a lot of space, and it's a little hip little way of playing different stuff in a jazz pattern. So a lot of these innovators that did that, way back when, they knew what they were talking about. So then what we could do is we could also put a tied note in the second bar on beat 2. Okay, we could do that. So the 8th note, basically the end of 2, where we would put our tied 8th note, and then obviously you'd skip beat 3 and then play beat 4 on your quarter note. So if I were to slow it down, this is what it sounds like: 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Right? So speeding it up, it makes more sense. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4. All right, so then what you could start to do is, you could start to mess with some of these particular patterns, and start to throw these together, instead of leaving so much quarter notes, you could throw in those regular ride cymbal patterns and mix up those tied notes. 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, 1, 2, and 3, 4, and. There's so many different ways to do this, and it's just really hip. So, start throwing in some tied notes, mixing it up a little bit, use the vocabulary that, that these lessons have provided, and, and start hacking away at it, and you'll have some really cool ride patterns to take from and utilize, and, instead of doing the same pattern over and over again. So it gets boring after a while, so that's why they started changing things, right? So the ride cymbal started to become the main voice in the contemporary jazz field. So that's it for ride cymbal variations. I'm sure there's many more, but I'm covering the basics. So in this video, or these video series at least. So next we're gonna get into some, eighth note languages. Like adding the snare drums in different places and bass drums in different places, and we're gonna add some things to those tied notes and all that. So hope this helps you. Comment and ask questions if you need to. So other than that, see you soon.